Hey guys, this is Dartimos with Dartimos Dominions. I'm here with General Confusion. How are you doing, dude?
Hey, doing all right about yourself?
I'm doing good. Gaslov, how are you doing, dude?
Good. Let's do this.
Now, I was talking between the breaks, and Abyssia at some point or another, and I don't know exactly when this happens, but there's not going to be a fight between Abyssia and Fascia because they come to an agreement that Fascia gets the capital and Abyssia gets everything else. GC, I mean, what's your thoughts on this?
So, as I think I said last time, if it had been me, in Abyssia's shoes, I probably would have been strongly tempted to go in on Pangaea's capital, just because I think that's a fight that Abyssia can win, and having a capital is obviously really valuable. That said, if Fascia is willing to give away a whole bunch of land and agree not to fight over it, and it's completely undefended because all of Pangaea's troops are defending the capital, then, it's free real estate. Why not? So I can see it. I think it's a perfectly valid way to handle this, and in particular, I think it's valid because I'm looking at this map right now, and I noticed that it looks like taking the capital.
Oh, you're right. Oh, I missed that. That was a catch. Yeah.
So, let's look at this battle and see how this.
Yeah, let's talk after this battle. And like I said, this could easily have taken out with the. Do you think that in the open ground this would have been worse?
Yes.
Okay, why is that?
Because, right now, only a fraction of the White Centaurs are fighting, and if you look, you may notice the White Centaurs are taking, almost no casualties. They're only taking casualties very, very slowly. In the open ground where they had all, made contact on the charge, I think they probably would have killed off most of the Phasian army in the rounds. Let's see how many White Centaurs did he actually lose?
He lost half of them, so this is a disaster for him, but I don't really see that's a disaster. I mean, 29 of these guys are just, who cares? It's
just mercenaries.
Yeah, just mercenaries.
Well, but see, this is kind of part of what I'm saying. If they had been out in the open where all 23 of those centaurs have been able to make contact, notice, they had a 5-to-1 KD ratio. So, if they had all been killing stuff from the start, I think probably the entire Phasian army would have been wiped out.
Gaslov, do you agree with that?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so, and I was kind of expecting him to attack this army instead of waiting for the castle defense. Because he could have won, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really interesting. I'm really... that he got knocked off is, once again, Abyssia... If I were Abyssia, I'd probably renegotiate because... I don't know. I would never agree to. I think with GC, I think I would have absolutely gone for this capital. You've got the troops, and you can knock out 2 players with 1 blow.
Yeah, because you've got about 20 lava warriors there in 19, and then the province just below has another army.
Yeah, but think about this. What are you going to do if you're Abyssia and you get into a war with somebody else? This Fascia player is probably going to be really annoying later. That's what I would be thinking if I were Abyssia.
The nice thing about Abyssia is that they're taking death scales, and this is a capital away from your death scales that you can start blood hunting.
Well, so I'm kind of like on Gaslov's side here a little bit right now. Here's what I would do. I would just take both those armies, and I would combine them both in the province just south of Pangaea's capital. And then I would see what happens next turn.
That's fair.
Because you can get, that's about 50 or 60 units. You can get wrapped up there. They're all high quality. Most of them are lava warriors. And then if Pangaea, sallies out and all their stuff dies and Fascia still has a big army here, then you go, okay, well, we have great, and you go take these indies down south. Whereas if Pangaea and Fascia annihilate each other's forces, then you just move in. This is mine now.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what's... I think, Abyssia is taking a lot of naps. They're they've got really no place to go after this. In addition, I mean, I think they napped with Naba, they napped with Asphodel. They're not going underwater. I mean, that's the other thing is that you don't want, you're worried about somebody else going to war, but they've already secured their flanks.
Well, it's just one of those things where it's like pissing off an underwater nation, right? There's not a lot you can do against the underwater nation. There's not a lot the underwater nation can do to you, but they can be a lot more annoying to you than you can be to them.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Sometimes when you want to go, when it's really important, they always seem to strike when you're in a really heated war with somebody. I don't know. It's just one of those diplomacy things where it's hard to know what the right decision is sometimes.
Never negotiate with terrorists, Gaslov.
So my next question for you is GC. How much of this that we're saying here, how much do you think that it is influenced by the fact that we have no stakes in the game?
Oh, well, I mean, I think it is influenced to some extent. Now, I tend to be, when I'm playing, I tend to be really aggressive in the early game. And part of that is because, how do I put it? In the early game, I think is when the game is at its most predictable, because it's all kind of based on the troops. When you get into the later game, once people have done a lot of research and they have a lot of spells available, possibilities magnify, and it can be hard to know sometimes when you're going into a fight what's going to happen. And God knows, I've been burned by that many times, where I go into a battle like, oh, I have a comfortable margin of superiority, I should win this. And then the other guy pulls out, some spell, like Wailing Winds or something that I didn't expect. And I'm just like, okay, so now I lose. And my whole army is scattered, and I don't know what I'm going to do. So, early game, I think it's worth taking risks to secure a big advantage early game if you possibly can. And this is a situation where, as Abyssia, I would be looking at, is it possible for me to secure a really big advantage here? Because I think it is. So I would be tempted to do this kind of thing in my own games.
Where is his white bull? I'm not seeing his white bull anywhere. Did he lose it in one of the last battles and we missed it?
Let's maybe.
Oh no, there it is. Here it is. I don't remember seeing if he lost it or not. So yeah, it's right here. Good. Okay, so he did put up, of note, the reason we haven't seen him lately is because he went over and he put down this other fort. And it looks like he's probably going to need to put down another one at this point. I think the world is now on to the fact that that Pangea is getting eaten. Does that affect anything for Asphodel? I mean, is he going to be? Is this? I mean, it's two of his neighbors are Airmore and then now eaten Pangea. What do you do if you're Asphodel? Gaslov, which direction do you go in?
It looks like a conflict is brewing with Miklon. Because I don't think they're going to be very happy with these borders. They're getting kind of messy.
Yeah, these are really interesting borders. GC, how often do you reach for provinces that are independents?
In this situation, I think I probably would not. What's that fort? Who owns that fort just to the left of this forest?
This one right here?
No, the one up to the north between. So you've got this Miklon border that curves up to the left, and there's that fort. I can't.
This one right here?
That's omniscient. It's never mind me. I'm an idiot. Okay, so I was just confused by that. I was looking at that. I was like, this independent fort that's there for some reason.
Oh, yeah. That's the good guys.
No, I probably, if I was Asphodel at this point, I would take that mountain independent if I could, or that cave independent that's right there in between Asphodel and Miklon. I might try to take Titan Steps, although that's an ugly province to attack. But basically, at this point, I would not be stretching too much. That province up past the forest to the upper left, that would be a reach too far.
This one right here? Oh, wait, no, that's definitely up to the left. Okay, so anything over here.
Lish. Lish would, I think, be a reach too far. That wouldn't be defensible. So I would try to consolidate at this point, because this is kind of a long, stringy nation. That said, I think the real thing that I would do as Asphodel in this situation is I would try my absolute best to cast Mother Oak, because Pangea was the big competition for that spell, and they're dead.
Yeah, I agree. And what's interesting is you could probably minimum cast it and get away with it.
Yeah, exactly, because nobody else is really like a big nature power.
What turn should we be expecting, at the earliest, should we be expecting Mother Oak?
Well, you're Asphodel, so your research is kind of bad. So, like, if you're really gunning for it, maybe like 20 or 25.
Okay. Excellent. Let's look through these real quick. Oh man, look at that. That's shiny. We are seeing very little. Oh my goodness, he wrecked 7 heavy cavalry with this force.
Yep.
Didn't lose anything. I tell you, these birds are. I absolutely love these birds. Yeah, look at that. I mean, they're all taking the lance charges. That is gorgeous. I really like Naba. I'm sorry. I really wanted to play a game before, you know, but these guys are so much fun to watch with these little birds. But yeah, 0 losses against 7 heavy cab. That's just really kind of cool. Oh wait, hold on. He lost a camel rider, but
he lost 1 camel rider.
I'll take that any day of the week.
And not to the cab.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so we're having an Illithid Meteorite Guard. Is this pretty standard? Gaslov, is this standard?
Yeah, we've talked about these guys before. He isn't doing anything weird here. That's pretty good army composition. You know, he stuns these guys, and then the Meteorite Guard go in and clean up.
It's really sad that they hit the Illithids. Otherwise, they probably would have taken this without any losses. But even then, 1 is not too terrible. Okay. Oh, what? It's flipping the air more. So, even against barbarians, these knights are doing just fine. How does that work? I mean, how are they able to even bop up barbarians?
Repel. Anybody with repel can take on barbarians.
Yeah, it's not that they're soaking the damage, it's that they're just not getting hit. So with the quickness, essentially when you have a long weapon like a spear that you can repel with, or a lance, actually, can they repel with the lance?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Do they keep?
Yeah, they can't.
Oh, they can't. Yeah, oh, wow.
They can't repel with the lance. So what it is that there's two factors here. The first is their defense skill is 18. So a barbarian attacking them only has like a 5% chance to actually hit. The second part is they have 3 attacks that are all pretty high damage, especially when they first charge in. So they can actually, like, these knights, often against some units like barbarians that have low defense and low protection, these guys will zip in and literally just clear the whole square in front of them, and then nobody will counterattack them.
Well, it is nice to see, 38 barbarians getting wrecked.
Yep.
Okay, so the Zots came in, died. Another Slayer expand. Oh, look, he got this one. Very nice. Ouch! We have a bit of a bump here.
Now, is that a bump or was that an attack?
This is a bump. They
okay.
Let me see if I can find it. Okay, so the Zots. Let's look at the first battle. The Zots came in and did very little damage.
Right.
Which is really interesting because they even hit the. I mean, that's the easier to kill group in my opinion.
Yeah, but Zots have such bad stats. They're really, like, the reason a province like this is dangerous is because Zots have dark vision, or Zots are blind, so they're not affected by the darkness, and most units are, but undead also aren't affected by darkness. Okay. So
even are these soulless warriors affected by it?
Nope.
Okay, wow.
Don't think so.
Okay, these guys have got the spirit sight.
Spirit sight. Actually, I think soulless might be. It just doesn't really matter because you don't, like, soulless have such crappy stats anyway. Yeah. They're not there to fight. They're just there they have 15 hit points. Like, that's their whole job.
Okay, so let's look and see what happens during this battle. Okay, and what's interesting is these guys don't have Spirit Sight either. Like their stats are getting hammered as well, right?
And these guys
Right.
lost?
Yep.
I know that I didn't get to see who won and lost, but these guys absolutely get surrounded and killed, isn't it?
Well, they killed the knights, yeah, but
Oh, then
they
the
routed
slave's
me.
gonna slave.
Oh, if they would have stayed and fought, they would have won that.
Oh god, and they even surrounded the commander.
Yeah, what's interesting about that is that they broke without like losing the commander. Like they broke before the commander was killed.
Yeah, they got crappy morale though.
Yeah.
Like 9 morale. My question for you is, and GC, I'm gonna ship this one to you. Was this a good exchange for Satis?
I would say this was kind of a loss for both players. Satis, because they've lost a commander. They did so. Not only didn't they take the province, but now they have to get another before they can move these elite warriors. So that's at least 2 turns of time lost. However, for Ermor, it's also not great because knights are an uncommon spawn, and so losing 2 knights like this is like, in a way, you would almost prefer to not have had this fight because, like, it's not like this is a super valuable province. If I was Ermor, I would almost like if I had something to rewind time, I would almost prefer to just not have gone into this province yet and have brought up more troops and attacked later. Because losing those 2 knights is kind of a pain in the neck. Now, that said, you have the province. It doesn't have your pop kill dominion in it yet, so you will get some income from it. So that's nice, because it'll let you build another fort or something. So, I don't know. It's better for Ermor than it is for Satis. It's not great for either of them.
Gaslov, does this mean that you're going to go to war with Satis? As Satis now lost a good number of troops, they're reeling back. It's obvious they haven't had a good expand. You're already, you've got a province already 2 from their cap. Is this looking it's a time for an attack?
That's the key information here. Is I don't think it's obvious to Ermor that Satis has not expanded well.
That's fair.
Why is that? Ermor has very good scouting. And because of that, he probably has no idea how big Satis is or what Satis even has. And so he'll likely play it safe, in my opinion, and focus on the last indies that are around him.
I like that. As a Satis player, what should you be expecting? What should your plan be, GC?
As a Satis player, my biggest concern right now would be Ermor attacking. Because Ermor is close to my capital in a couple of different places, and I know that. And I know that I haven't had a great expand. And B, Ermor is not affected by Satis's Dominion ability. So, like, every other nation, like every living nation, yeah, they may still want to attack you, but they have to accept that they're going to take losses to disease in doing that, which might include very valuable, like, units and commanders. And that kind of thing has a big psychological effect on people. So it is a pretty effective defense, but it doesn't work on Ermor because all their stuff is undead. So the disease doesn't hurt them. So in Satis's position, right now I would be super worried about Ermor attacking. And in particular, I would be looking to probably clean up those 2 indies just north of my capital as quickly as I could. And then potentially take either Emmerich or Crystal Fields or both back from Ermor and just kind of push them back away from my...
Do you initiate the battle, or do you wait for Ermor to attack?
If I decide that I need to do that, I'm going to initiate, because waiting for other people to attack you is almost always a bad decision.
Would you try for a nap with Ermor whatsoever?
I probably wouldn't agree to a nap with Ermor unless they offered me something. Probably I would basically contact them and be like, okay, so look, I'm not happy with you being this close to my capital. I'm going to take Emmerich back or whatever. And we could kind of negotiate a little bit. But in general, I'm hesitant to negotiate much with Ermor because, of course, the way Ermor works is the longer they exist near you, the more you suffer. So it's like,
I'm almost positive that if Satis goes to Airmore and says these 2 provinces for peace, that I think Airmore would actually take it, because it's like what you said. The longer that Airmore has to expand and to, entrench and to get bigger, they'll take it to get to that turn 30 point that you were talking about earlier.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, and if I was the Airmore player and
I'm sorry, you were saying if you were the Airmore player, what was that?
If I was the Airmore player and Satis came to me and offered a nap for those 2 provinces, I would absolutely take it.
Okay. As a Satis player, should he, Gaslov, should he be starting to get a coalition together?
Yeah, and my suspicion is he's probably already been talking with Relay. One, he would do that because you want Relay to target somebody else, and 2, yeah, it's always good to have friends against Ermor, and it's a very easy way to make friends in this game is teaming up against Ermor.
Now, I don't want to give too much of a spoiler, but I'm kind of interested that not too much of a surprise. There is an Airmore coalition that ends up forming to some extent, within the next 20 to 30 turns, and I need to go see when it got started, because they started their own Discord chat where they could sit there talking amongst themselves. Have you ever been involved in any of these like Discord mini groups, Gaslov?
Yeah. I mean, in fact, one of Sakanades. I'm also part of one in Bose's game. It's the Great Elven Conspiracy.
do you want to explain that one? Is it for or against the is this conspiracy against the elves or for the elves?
All the goddamn elves.
Yeah, it's all the elves in the game. We have a secret alliance,
and nobody knows it. Nobody knows where it is.
Yeah, because this game has like 60 players or something like that.
Oh, is it one of those chaos games?
Dude, it's huge. It is a massive game. It's a lot of fun, but I think there are like 7 or 8 planets or something like that. And yeah, I think, and it takes a nation from every era. So all the nations in the eras are in it. Plus, it's a DE game, which has some additional nations. It's a lot of fun so far, and it's crazy.
So things like that, you need that code, like that alternative source where you can talk amongst other people, or like in like small groups together. Then,
yeah, you probably need it.
Okay, guys, let's move on to turn 10. I keep going. I need to turn. I need to clean out my saved game file. We got another one from Masfidel. Okay, as you guys see things, kind of give us a TLDR from what you're reading. So he's not worried about Fascia because he thinks that his bull can kill anything that's there.
So it's more than that. He's planning to actually vulture off Fascia and get like some of Pangea's provinces.
Do you think that? Do you think that Fascia cares at all about that?
I think he's actually more likely to piss off Abyssia, depending on what the deal there between Fascia and Abyssia was. But that said,
yeah,
I do think that Fascia's made a misplay here in focusing so hard on taking Pangea's capital really early, because he really has like left all of his expansion out. So what we're gonna end up seeing, and this is me trying to predict the future, which is always risky, but it looks like if things go this way, is that we're gonna end up seeing Fascia in control of Pangea's capital eventually, but with not that many other provinces. And they're going to have a big resource deficit going into the mid-game.
And that's one thing he says. He says, this is part of the reason why I'm not a fan of year one rushes. And he says, very similar to what you said, which I think is a great analysis. My question for you, GC, is it worth it? Was the rush worth it, knowing that I mean, Fascia's gone scales, so he's not hurting, and he's got his capital, which is really strong. If he gets his scales into Pangea, he's got a strong base, but he missed out on so much. It was this for that. Was it worth it?
In this case, I don't think it was. Now, I will say that actually, I think year one rushes can be very worth it for a lot of nations, but the way that works is you roll in, you block somebody's capital, and then you take all their stuff. You take all their provinces in their cap circle and everything around, because at that point, you don't actually need to storm the capital immediately. Once it's locked down, you can pretty much just expand, but you have double the expansion room. And then at some point, once you have the resources, you take the capital. A year one rush, as in trying to actually charge in and take the capital itself in year one, I mean, that's unlikely to work.
And that's very fair enough. I agree with that. And the other thing that's really amazing to me is Fascia keeps reinforcing this instead of taking provinces elsewhere. And one thing I want to see is, did he start expanding elsewhere? And we're seeing where actually he's starting to go other places. So at least he's starting to get a little less focus. Now, what I want to know is this Pangea fight here, but let's see what Fascia says. Gaslov, do you want to read this for me?
Well, that was a massive mistake, frowny face, but it can be recovered. I knew I needed to A, hit his white centaurs with javelins, and B, get us around and not fight him in the gate. Of course, neither of those things happened. But on the plus side, he is down to 10 white centaurs, and I still have a pretty substantial group of troops. I think I can still take it.
Should he still be reinforcing Gaslov, or should he just go with what he had previously? Do you think he's going to be fine now?
So at this point, I mean, he's obviously committed. It'd be a mistake, I think, to give up at this point because, like you said, he's killed half of them. He's bringing in more troops. I don't know. I agree with GC. This was a mistake on his part. The long-term profit of this war, I think, just wasn't worth the opportunity cost.
Now, what I'm interested in is if he brought back those troops, because the commanders are treated as well. There was only one place for them to retreat to, which is bad because you're more likely to lose troops. But at the same time, it's good because your commanders are all sitting there. My question is, did he win this fight here, coming out to knock him off the fort?
I think it could have gone either way. I'm really not sure.
Do you
think he's gonna lose?
Do you think that this was a good call? I mean, you think he's going to lose, Gaslov. Do you think this was a good call? Should he have just stayed in the fort?
Well, what does he gain from staying in the fort? I mean, Pangea is pretty much doomed. I don't know. I don't know because his guys are eventually going to start starving, and he's not getting any money. I really don't know.
And I mean, this would give him a turn of White Centaur production and let him put PD on it.
Yeah, I mean, sallying was really the only choice, I think. So, but I'm not sure if he's going to win this fight or not. It will really come down to morale checks.
Yeah, I think you're right, and I think that it comes down. It's what you guys were saying was, it's not a good choice, but it was the best of the bad choices.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Oh, someone's renamed their prophet.
Okay, we've got blessings. Hooray!
Of
note, this comes from an item that he stole from his from Fascia's.
Oh, okay.
So he actually stole that. And what we're seeing here is exactly what you were talking about, GC, where they're actually getting surrounded. And I think you're right in the open.
He did it.
That Magma Warrior made all the difference.
Oh, yeah, look at that kill count. Yeah, see, look at that. It's that same 4-to-1 kill to death ratio that White Centaurs can pull.
But
now he didn't kill any of the commanders. and he only killed about half the units. So it's like, okay. I mean, the benefit of this is he does get another turn of war, but he's still going to lose. It's just going to take a couple turns.
He can if it doesn't get jumped on. And this is what I like because, going back a couple turns ago where I asked you as Abyssea what you would do, and you said I would have combined in the south, waited and watched. And can you imagine if you're Abyssea with a scout on that territory, you just saw this and your army is just south of Pan?
Oh, yeah, no, instantly. Like, I'm on there. I'm sorry, Facia, the agreement's over. This is my place now.
And this is one of the fun thing about being, omniscience, because you could see. I love that you called. I mean, that was a perfect call, dude. I mean, like looking at it now, you called the perfect move for Abyssea. Abyssea knocks out Facia. Facia can't recover from this if you jump on Pan's fort. No. They can annoy you for the rest of the game, but they're just going to be an annoyance. And it's a really interesting call. Looking at this now, I mean.
There they are. There's Abyssea.
Yeah, Abyssea could jump on it right now, but they've got. I think they have a nap at this point. They have an agreement that they're gonna let Facia take this territory.
Yeah, well, you make these calls, and sometimes you end up sitting here looking at it going, "God damn it, why did I agree?"
And the other question I have is, what is Mictlan doing? Mictlan is sitting here with no provinces. What was funny is that he played in the this is the third game Omniscience that he played in, and I remember the first game he was trying really hard to not look like a coward, but I think that he did really well when he was aggressive. Theoretically, Facia should be toast at this point. Sitis can take this province right here. Nabah has taken. I mean, he's absolutely going to take the western coast. And theoretically, Mictlan could have this entire coast right here.
Yeah.
I mean, this could theoretically be a disaster for Facia. The all-in not working. Abyssea takes that, and it's over.
Right, because it's going to take, like, Facia still has an army down there, especially because he's moved in even more troops. But it's still going to take a minimum of, 3 turns to capture Pangaea right now. And that's assuming he doesn't lose again, which is still possible, although it would be... I mean, at that point, you just have to laugh if that happens again. But yeah, so it's going to take a minimum of 3 turns for him to take Pangaea. That means he doesn't have a second fort until turn, 14? What turn is it right now, 11? 10?
Yeah, 10.
Okay, so he doesn't have a second fort until turn 13, which is a little bit late. It's a capital, that's good, but he still only has a total of 6 provinces.
That is nuts. I don't even think he has that. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh no, you're right. 6. 6 provinces on turn 10 with a chance. And Abyssea jumps on there right there. His game is pretty much over.
Yeah, if he doesn't take Pangaea's capital, he's in a really bad spot. Now, obviously, Island Facia kind of counts as several provinces because it has absolutely ridiculous income stats. So there is that. It's not as bad as it looks, but he could easily end up in a position where he's just kind of locked in his island, not really able to go anywhere or do anything.
And I think one wild card is that Mictlan's bad expand allowed him to come back later and take these provinces. I think these should be Mictlan's.
Well, and it looks like Mictlan's been spending a lot of time spamming Jaguar Warriors, because he has a bunch of Jaguar Warriors.
I think he took our advice a little too seriously and was like, I'm not going to expand until I get these Jaguar Warriors. Or maybe
that's kind of what it looks like to me.
Yeah, maybe he got he's gun shy because of how many Eagle Warriors he lost early. I don't know. But either way, this was a mistake. I think that he should have been more aggressive on this regards. Now, at this point, look at this force here. This is mildly scary. I'm assuming he's going to attack this throne right here. Does this require this many forces? Gaslov, do you think this requires a huge amount of troops?
Yeah, let's see what's in here. Not really. Nah, this is pretty weak.
What is going to be the scary part of this army?
Fire elementals.
Okay.
Really, that's probably going to be the worst part about it. But I wouldn't be surprised if he goes after the horse tribe first and then comes over and takes the throne.
Yeah.
Now,
just to kind of keep Relay from being tempted to set up shop on his coast.
I agree with that. And of note, with Satis here and Naba here, in order for Relay to jump into this other pond here, he is going to have to declare war on one of these two or negotiate some sort of passage through. Have you ever allowed passage through your territory, GC?
I have not. I have seen it done. There was actually a recent game I was playing in a Disciples game where Perun and Ball Stalin and I'm sorry, I'm blanking on the third guy's name, which is embarrassing because he's a Patreon supporter of mine. But anyway, it was a team of 3 underwater nations, and they negotiated passage with another team, so they got to take like a little strip of land connecting 2 lakes.
I only think Perrin could do that because normally people don't allow passage.
Yeah, really I wouldn't.
Well, what about you, Gaslov? Would you allow passage through your territory?
Not willingly. I am in a game where I'm basically forced to allow passage because I'm entangled in a war with somebody.
Oh, that's fair enough. That's passage at gunpoint. Okay, so anything else of note that you guys can see from the map? I mean, this is. Oh, wait, what? This can't be true. Do you think he has one of those mirage things?
I think he must, because there's no way he has 30 carrion beasts.
That would be amazing, wouldn't it? Okay, the other thing, okay, so he's got his white bullets expanding again, and it looks like borders are finally coming to a close. Of note, it is turn 10, and there are still independent provinces. I'm a little bit disappointed because I think that turn 10, you should be completely finished with expand on a map of this size. What do you think is slowing up expansion, GC?
Well, I mean, so I'm not sure that I agree that by turn 10 all the independents should be gone, but I think in this case, part of there's 2 big things that have affected expansion. The first is that Satis has not expanded well. And the second is that Phaesia's war with Pangaea has effectively taken them both off the board as far as expansion is. So, like, there's 3 provinces around, there's 4 provinces actually, right around Pangaea that are theoretically Pangaea would have taken, because Pangaea normally expands really, really fast. And then there's several provinces around that lake that Phaesia could potentially have taken that they haven't because they got involved in this war. And then over on the flank, of course, where Satis is, there's a bunch of provinces that Satis should have been pushing into, but they haven't because they've had their own expansion troubles. So
I think you're right. The other thing to note is the combination of the two, where if Satis was up here, he could have vultured as well.
Yep.
So yeah, just really interesting. The other thing, there was one more thing that
this is a 9-player game, is that right?
Yes, that is correct.
And 4 of them are very tiny.
Which 4 are the tiny ones? We have Satis, we have obviously Pan.
Yeah, and Miklon.
And then Mictlan. Yeah, Mictlan is very small.
Yeah, so we've had... I mean, normally in every game you'll have a couple of people who... But this game is interesting because there's, like, a lot of people failing expansion.
And it's not just failing expansion, it's also just having other things. Like Phaesia, instead of expanding and getting large, has been fixated on a single capital.
Right. Well, I mean, I would count that as a kind of failing expansion.
I agree, yeah, I agree with you completely.
It would be one thing if he had actually taken Pangaea like 2 or 3 turns ago and then gone expanding, but he didn't. He failed, so it's like, well, okay. Now we're here with our 6 provinces.
And I don't think that this would have turned out very much different if he would have had a single expansion party just taking 1 province per turn.
No.
And so I think that, juggling those two things of expansion and attacking is a key thing that I would have liked to have seen him do. But I mean, it's different, us standing here watching him and actually being part of, down in the dirt.
Right, and of course, hindsight is 20/20.
Exactly, and that's, I mean, it's, as we stand here in judgment of the players, we definitely are not playing. So, and then it goes back and to come full circle. What is it to be down in the dirt? Very, does it affect your judgment or not? And I don't know if I would have done things very much differently if I was actually playing. So, of note, who's in the lead? GC, who do you think is winning right now? Give me your top two players.
Right now, I think Ermor is winning, and probably Relay is up there with him.
What are your top two players, Gaslov?
Yeah, I would agree with Ermor, but I would say Abyssia is doing quite well.
And if I was going to give my top three, I think that I would pick all three of you, with Abyssia and Relay being the being tied for second place. Why would you say Ermor is winning at this point, GC?
Because no one is bothering them. So it's almost the end of year 0. Ermor has, just eyeballing it, they actually have quite a few provinces. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh, we can go. Hold on, dude. I'll just go over here and check the store graphs and do provinces. Interestingly enough, Abyssia has more, but you're right. Ermor has quite a few as well.
I mean, in terms of sheer resource and landmass, yes, it's kind of ruling the roost right now. But the reason I said Ermor is that Ermor benefits more from delay like this. I'm actually a little bit surprised that I haven't seen any forts going up in Ermorian territory. Are they working on building a fort anywhere?
They do.
Yes,
have
they do have a fort.
One.
They have a fort in
here.
Rick Forest.
But I mean, it's turn 10. They definitely should have at least one. Okay, there's one here.
Yeah, they've got another one under construction. Yeah, so once Ermor gets several forts up, and especially because they have that safe northern border with Asphodel, which has no interest in fighting them, they're going to be extremely hard to remove. And once they have forts, they have templed forts, they're going to start spawning a lot more knights. And Ermor with, 30 blessed knights in their army is a very different beast from Ermor with just hordes of skeletons. So right now, I would say, if we just took a snapshot of the game and it wasn't going to progress, I would say, okay, right now, Abyssia, if you called it right now, Abyssia, quote-unquote, wins. But Ermor is going to grow more. And they have fewer dangers.
One thing of note is I don't see Abyssia being able to take this. If I was Sitis and Abyssia takes these two provinces, I'm going to have a talk with Abyssia and just say, look, go back to your corner of the world. Relay, on the other hand, has these provinces that they can still take, these 3 provinces, and they had, whoever they're going to war with is not going to be able to strike back. So Relay does still seem to be in a strong position, and so does Abyssia. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah, and middle-age Relay is the best Relay by a long shot, because they're very amphibious. So middle-age Relay can just keep, they've got this foothold on the land, which is over near Sitis. They probably have a decent idea about how bad expansion has been, given where they are. So they can just kind of start marching out of the lake onto Sitis. And there's not, I think they win that.
Okay, guys, well, I think that we are going to call it at this point. Thank you so much for joining me, GC. I definitely do appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Gaslov, wonderful to have you again. Thank you for your commentary and your analysis.
Yeah, anytime.
I will see the viewers in the next episode. Have a good one. Bye.